Hello and welcome to Guided Meditation and Mindful Movement. This is Leo on behalf of Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center. Visit us on the web at urbanyoga.org or on Facebook at Kristen Olson's Urban Yoga Center to check the schedule of classes and make donations in the tip jar. All the online classes are supported solely by your donation. Today I don't have any participants signed in for Zoom, so what we do then, when we are lacking participants, is to make shorter videos so that the folks who use our YouTube library have some shorter segments to choose from. So today will just be just a meditation to share. It's Day of the Dead here in Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, and in thinking of departed loved ones, I came up with the meditation for today. So, but we'll start the way we always start. Getting comfortable, and if you want to, closing your eyes, if that's comfortable, and focus on your breath. So first we sort of get ourselves into position and into the state conducive to meditation. So you don't even have to be sitting up. You certainly don't have to sit exactly the way I sit. Maybe you're lying down, doesn't matter. A position that's comfortable to you. And as we find some stillness and focus on our breath, everything can slow down. The body, the mind, the breathing. Taking in your surroundings to situate yourself in your meditation space. Perhaps picturing yourself on your mat. Feeling where you're touching the mat and where you're touching anything else, other props you're using, or the floor outside your mat. Noticing whatever is touching upon any of your senses. And so, in honor of it being Day of the Dead, for tonight's meditation, I'll ask you to bring to mind a departed loved one. And it's okay if more than one person comes to mind, and maybe your focus goes between one and another. It's all right. In other words, if you can't limit your focus to just one person. If more than one person memory is calling for attention, maybe you picture them gathered together, thinking of you as you think of them. And with any relationship, anyone who's been in our lives, anyone who's been a loved one, no matter the relationship or the duration or how long they've been gone, there is always a need in relationships for forgiveness, for forgiving each other and for forgiving ourselves. And so we'll use for this meditation a Hawaiian practice that's called Ho'oponopono. Bringing to mind something that happened between your departed loved one and you, something that they did or said, perhaps something that they didn't do or didn't say, something for which you need or needed to forgive them. And maybe you've already forgiven them. You can still do this practice. You can still use that memory. Maybe to simply freshen that forgiveness, remind yourself of it. And there are 4 lines that we say in the Ho'oponopono practice. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. So picturing this loved one you have in mind, or loved ones, maybe you say it once for each one, or twice for each one. I don't know how many you have in your mind's eye, in your heart right now. I'll say it several times. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I am sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I am sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Maybe picture yourself hugging this person or holding hands or whatever way in which the 2 of you shared affection. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. You can keep going and say it a few more times, but just continue to picture, maybe to hold this loved one. And now we will do another round of this practice, another iteration, focusing on ourselves. Thinking again of this loved one, this relationship, bring to mind something that happened between you that would necessitate you forgiving yourself, something that calls for forgiveness. Again, might be something you said or something that you did, something that you didn't say or didn't do. And say to yourself, I'm sorry. I love you. Forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Forgive me. Thank you. And as we pictured ourselves holding the departed loved one, you can, if you want, hold yourself, resting your hands on your body, or you can even sort of reach for your shoulder blades and hug yourself. I'm sorry. I love you. Forgive me. Thank you. And we can change up the words just as we can do anytime we're working with a mantra, a meditation script. The wording is suggested. You could say, I'm sorry. I love me. I forgive me. And I thank me. I'm sorry. I love myself. I forgive myself. And thankful to myself. Know that whatever you felt in doing this practice was exactly what you needed to feel in that moment. Know that it's perfectly natural when we remember things, we remember loved ones we've lost, remember our conduct, our relationships. For whatever reason, we often go to the painful or negative memory. Know that that's okay when it happens. And know that you can always shift with that person in mind. You can feel those feelings and shift to another memory and feel something else. Change a thought to change a feeling. In every relationship, there is difficulty and there is joy, and there is this variety of memories, of feelings. And there are longer versions of this Ho'oponopono practice. There are books on it. There are lots of different meditations on YouTube about it. Some longer, some with singing. There's a particular singing one I did in my yoga teacher training when I first learned of this practice, and it's that melody and that phrasing still echoes in my mind when I just hear or think the word Ho'oponopono. Start to think about this practice. And I elected not to subject you to my unaccompanied singing. You can find them on YouTube, and if you're drawn to music in such a practice, find the one that suits you. No one is beyond forgiveness, even if they're gone physically from our lives. And even ourselves, sometimes we think we are unforgivable or we have done something unforgivable. The history behind the Ho'oponopono practice shows that it was started by a doctor who was working with prison inmates, pretty serious offenders. There's some pretty bad crimes that these people were in prison for having committed, having been found guilty of. And we made wonderful progress. They made wonderful progress in using this Ho'oponopono forgiveness practice with themselves, among themselves. And of course, this practice of forgiving others and ourselves does not have to simply be focused only on the past. You can use it on today. How did today go? You can use it in the future too. Just as we have incurred the need for forgiveness in the past or encountered the need to forgive in the past, we will do so again and again in the future. Such as life. Thank you for tuning in and sharing in this practice. The light within me sees and honors and forgives that light within you. Okay, forgives is not part of namaste, but maybe it's part of honoring, so maybe it is. Namaste.